There we go.
All right, we're winning. Okay, folks, thanks for putting up with the technical difficulties. For those that don't remember who I am, and by golly, anybody that's on this feed ought to, I'm J.D. Wilson, running for United States Representative, District 1, Michigan, Upper Peninsula. For those that have been paying attention, you already know. For those that haven't been paying attention, a little over 3 weeks ago on Friday, we were disqualified from the ballot, which is disappointing. So I'd like to go through some of the reasons that we were disqualified so that people can kind of get a feel for what we've been going through. It's clear to our team that we must have irrefutably our fault, and at the end of the day, that's our fault, and we have to live with that. So the bottom line is, I'm sad to say, and I know we're going to disappoint a lot of folks, that we are no longer in the race for U.S. District 1 against Bergman. Now, the good news is, and I'm going to do a formal endorsement at the end of this video, and I'll give you a take. The remaining opponent candidate for the seat. We joined this race backing out of the United States Senate race at the last minute, and when we did, we had an overwhelming response. People were absolutely enthralled with the fact that we had chosen that direction, because they felt we really needed to replace Jack Bergman, who, I'll say out loud, has sold us out, along with a lot of other politicians. The status quo has got to change, and we need grassroots candidates, rather, in these positions, and that's what we were trying to do. We were disqualified for a stack of 5 reasons. One of the reasons was we had 2 warning paragraphs that were not done in what they declared to be the appropriate fonts. Those appropriate font calculations are done based on 70-year-old print requirements, and essentially we missed that. Now, at the end of the day, we're off by 1/72nd of an inch. 1/72nd of an inch. And our font is barely measurable. I could use some crude language to express what that amounts to, but it isn't very much. At the end of the day, also, all of the language is meant for the canvassers. All of our canvassers, what it amounts to is we're getting disqualified over 1/72nd of an inch, or at least we have 5 reasons total. So that winds up being 2 of them, just so we're all on the same page. The part that's frustrating for us is that there's a court judgment that occurred in 2012 that tells everybody that apparently the Secretary of State still wants to keep that a secret because they left it out of the guide that you use in order to create your petitions. And our petitions, by the way, are where the problem was, if you haven't caught that by now. All right, so we had 2 paragraphs that were in the wrong font. We had a line that completely followed the language of the law, but was listed as a violation. And we had 2 violations listed that don't apply to nominating petitions. I'm going to repeat that. We had 2 violations listed that do not apply to nominating petitions. They're there for legislative petitions. And in fact, the law is very clear. There's one law that covers one, and there's one law that covers the other. But for some reason, our exception has 5 items. So 2 of them are the font, 1/72nd of an inch too small. The other 2 are these violations of rules that don't apply to our petitions. And at the end of the day, we did have a typo, and the typo's on us, and that's the only reason we're not suing the Secretary of State. What we are going to do over the course of the next year And we by the way, we played with lots of items and lots of options. One of the things we considered doing was going as a write-in. That's really hard to do, especially in a district the size of ours. And I believe that we would have made a heck of a dent, but I don't want to disrupt at this stage in the game Josh's attempt to run against Bergman. And we feel like that's all we would be doing. In the meantime, I will keep my name out here. We're going to start cutting these videos. We're going to start doing this regularly. And we'll have a time slot that we pick where my team, we haven't ironed this out yet, but we're going to have a regular time slot that we're going to have where my team will be available, and we'll be doing these and releasing these regularly. So in the meantime, we will close the campaign itself. I don't want to say close it completely. We're going to leave the websites up. We still need your support, but we are going to put endorsements up for both Josh Saul and in the District 1 congressional race against Bergman. We will also post before the end of this broadcast tonight an endorsement for Sherry O'Donnell for U.S. Senate. For those that don't know, I know some of you joined our cause late after we joined the congressional run, but we actually, for a year, we were in the United States Senate run until they brought Mike Rogers in and made him the heir apparent. Our grassroots candidate for that seat is Sherry O'Donnell. She is your grassroots person. And folks, let me tell you, grassroots campaigns, the only way we can win them is if we put money in grassroots pockets, because the establishment, the people with all the money, they want to keep what they have. They want to keep the control of the Congress, control of Senate, control of the House, basically. And that's what we need to get resolved. That's what we need to fix, and that's what a grassroots run is. So please go to Sherry O'Donnell's site and give to her. Please go to Josh Saul's site and give to him. Those folks need all the help they can get in order to push this grassroots cause. Now, what are we going to do? Again, we're going to keep the site up, but we have decided to declare war against Benson and Nasser. And basically, when I say declare war, with the topic of why not petitions. So we're going to take the petition guide apart. By the way, I was admonished in front of the petition board for not doing my homework. We used their guides and the published Michigan laws as our homework. What they wanted us to do is spend money with printers or buy their copies. And the problem is, in a grassroots scenario, you might not have the money to do that. And I'll tell you, looking back at it, we should have. I'm not. That's really not the point. The point is to push people off of the ballot because of technicalities is ridiculous, and it should be absolutely be against the law. We should only be pushing people off the ballot because they legitimately didn't do the due process. And our due process, we collected our signatures in good faith. And I'm confident, had they been canvassed, we would have been victorious. We would have been on the ballot. I'm not concerned about the quality of our signatures because all of our collectors we knew personally and interacted with. I did hire a handful of folks because we wanted to hit the UP, but I wound up throwing all of those out because they were done incorrectly. So at the end of the day, all of our canvassers were folks that were a part of the campaign that I knew personally. So we are going to go after the Secretary of State with respect to the guide that they spent apparently countless hours. I was admonished in front of the board that they had spent countless hours, and it was in fact my fault for not having done my homework in order to do the petitions correctly. So what we're going to do is point out the flaws in that document, and we're going to call the Secretary of State out. We're doing it right now, actually. We are calling out Benson. We want that guide fixed, and we want that guide written, not to disqualify people so that your canvassers don't have to do their due diligence. We want that guide written so that a guy like me, a simple grassroots candidate, can get on the ballot after having collected legitimate signatures. And not over 1/72nd of an inch will be thrown out, and not because we politically piss somebody off, and yes, I said that out loud, would we get extra things written into our complaint that went far above and beyond, like the wrong law being cited. Now, Nasser, your staff is on that team. And that's why I'm calling you out, because they were on the board nodding to the board members that my petitions were in violation. And when I pointed out that your guides, the guides that the Secretary of State published and that your team apparently advised them on, because they're like sisters up there on the board talking to one another and brothers. They clearly work together day in, day out, and they clearly have an understanding with one another of how they're going to discuss things. So if that's the way we're going to play the game, then that attorney that was up there, and I'm not naming names at the moment. We're going to come back with names in the next round of this. So look for it. The attorney that was up there that essentially told me that I was mistaken, even after I clarified, was the one that was mistaken. And the board member that called me out for not doing my homework called me out based on your attorney's opinion. So your attorney, which is you, an extension of you. There were two attorneys up there that were extension of you. So Nasser, I'm going after you with respect to this guide too. Benson, this guide and that board should not be a way to DQ people from being in the game. And essentially what I understood when I walked out of that room is that the entire goal of that board is to not canvass. It's to not do what they're supposed to do. It's to come up with a disqualifying reason to kick somebody off of the ballot. And to me, that is not what our forefathers wanted. That's not what our forefathers intended. And so at the very least, if you're going to write a guide, it's not going to misdirect us to do the wrong thing. Okay, at the very least, if you're going to write a guide, it's going to direct us to do the right thing, and you're not going to admonish somebody for reading and following your guide and then winding up kicked up off the board. Or I'm sorry, off of the ballot. So there's my rant. Now, life is not fair. I will confess, again, at the end of the day, we made errors that I won't ever make again, and we've learned a lot of lessons, and clearly we've made a difference. The people that we've run against are starting to respond to constituents, even though I still think they've sold us out. So look forward to more communication from our team. We will be happy to discuss this with the press. We will be putting together a draft of the guide that they published with problems with that guide, and we will eventually be publishing that. And I say eventually, it's going to take some time for our team to actually get through the thing. It's I don't remember now, 58 pages, and there's a lot of, we found in the course of just our efforts, 12 items that contradict the law or vice versa. Now, why would you release a guide and spend countless hours onto a guide in creating a guide with legal staff there to support that process, Benson? How come we're doing that, right? And not taking the time to vet that guide before we publish it. So come on. That's what we're going to do, and that's what we're going to ask for. All right. I know we did this last minute. I don't know. Are we getting any interaction, Senor Tomas?
Negative.
Okay. Well, that's fair. And to be expected. That's actually good. All right. So this will be going out to our entire mail team, everybody that is a follower. Let me assure you that for anybody that has made donations, those donations have either gone to a very good cause or they are still in the bucket waiting to be utilized. We're not spending that campaign money. Anybody that puts any money in is going to go toward the cause of, and it's now MIO 1 is my mission. So Michigan District 1 Congressional is my mission. So we'll see what happens with Josh, and we'll come back in a year and we'll look at what we're going to do next. But we are absolutely going to make a difference. And we're going to start with the Secretary of State. We're going to start with that petition guide. I know it. Why not pick something I know and prove that I can fix it? And then we'll use that as part of our campaign run. In the meantime, look forward to hearing from us again and again and again. All right. Please come and visit us at jdwilsonformichigan.com. We will be announcing these podcasts. This will be published. We will be changing the site a little bit. We need to make the announcement on the site that we have been kicked from the ballot, which we intend to do. It took a little bit of time for us to collect ourselves and figure out what had actually happened. We could have fought this and probably would have won, but it was a $75,000 tag to get in front of. Once you go past the Board of Canvassers, the next thing is to go to the Michigan Supreme Court. And the Michigan Supreme Court, we couldn't get an attorney to stand up and talk to us for less than $75,000. We don't have that kind of money to fight the fight, so I'm going to fight the fight after the fact. We're going to take the hit, which we've done, got kicked off the ballot, but we're going to fight the fight. So the 75 grand, I'll essentially donate in our efforts to try to get that guide fixed. And in the process, I was embarrassed on that stand. There are some folks that I owe a little bit of back because they were very mistaken and they called me out in public. So look forward to some names. I'm going to give you the names of the two attorneys that were corresponding with the head of the canvasser. We'll give you the name of the board member who called me out for not doing my homework. And by golly, it's your turn to do the homework. All right. So JD Wilson, FORMI.com. Stop Biden now. We still have the Stop Biden now. We're going to keep that until Trump wins, and then we'll back off on the Stop Biden now when Trump finally wins. We do endorse Trump. Okay, so at the end of this, which is coming soon here, we're going to go ahead and sign off, and then I will do some countdown timestamps, and we'll do a quick couple of endorsements, and then we'll sign off for tonight. But once again, we look forward to hearing from you. Please give us the feedback, follow us, join us, let us know that you want us to do more of these, because we intend to get in the weeds. And if we're going to do them scheduled, what I really would like is for it to have interaction with you folks, constituents, concerned citizens, whatever it is. Americans, not Americans, people with an opinion, people that can tell us what they think we should do. That's where we're headed. My name is JD Wilson. I was running for United States Congress District 1, Michigan. We're going to take a break from that for a year and move on. And that'll be a cut on this. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate your attendance. All right, and then let's do a couple takes real quick.
Whoa. Hold on.
You want to cut that one and start do separates?
Yeah. Yeah.